Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
You know, we all have our weeks, but the Sabbath is a day loaded with benefits.
Yes, sir.
Aren't you grateful? And I always look forward to it.
Yes, sir.
I'm thankful for them. No matter what else we've dealt with, we're commanded to make a joyful noise unto Yahweh, to come before His presence with singing, to make known His greatness. Yahweh, He is Elohim. Beside Him, there is no other. So, praises be to Yahweh.
Yes, sir. Hallelujah.
Shake off the cares that you've had. Get rid of the worries that you've had. Let's see what Yahweh's word says to us today.
Yes,
you
sir.
Do that?
Amen.
Aaron, good to see you again.
Glad to be here.
Give our love to Rita and to your mom. I know that we miss them as well. It's awesome to see you. Told you last week, there's times that it's time to sit down. There's times when it's time to stand up. For me, right now, it's time to sit down.
Yes, sir.
Today, it's time for Dave Gates to stand up. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Yahweh will have him share with us today. Dave, thank you for being willing to do this, agreeing eagerly to do this. And I look forward to it, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Amen.
Come on, Dave.
Morning.
Good morning.
Realized this morning was my anniversary. And as soon as we got in the car, Amanda said, "Happy anniversary." Today's not our anniversary. Punched the phone, February 17th. Oops. That got here quick. I've had a lot of other things on my mind, so yeah. Live and learn. Make adjustments. This morning, I guess first of all, teammate to teammate, all right? We're a team.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Teammates have individual responsibilities, and that's what I guess that's how I want you to take it. I want you to take it team, like player to player, teammate to teammate.
Yes, sir.
And this is stuff that here recently that I've realized, and it's really excited me, and it's helped me understand some things that I think and I hope it excites you too. I kind of started, we really press into the law. We really press into what Yahweh expects. Yahweh makes it very clear what He expects out of us.
Right.
And the law is super important. And where I started is what Mr. Martin said. I heard him say years ago. If you're going to start reading the Bible, start at the beginning. All right, where do you want to start? Beginning. And it's where Yahweh wants us to start, at the beginning. People, a lot of people don't go back to the beginning, as we talk about from time to time. People miss that part, start at the middle, and you don't really know where the Messiah is. You don't know what He's talking about. You don't know what the context of anything He's saying is. And so I really, for a long time, I get in the car, I press my little Bible app, and I read it, or listen to it. And over a long time, I kind of got to the point, okay, I know the law, now what? All right? And I don't know if that's a bad question to ask, or I don't think it is. I think I just kind of wanted to know, okay, now what do I do with this? And so the law was just, in my head. You constantly got to think about it, and you're digging. And then, so about, I guess, probably 6 weeks ago or so, I started, I was like, I'm going to move on and I'm just going to start in Mark, the beginning of the New Testament. And I listened to Matthew, Mark, Luke, Matthew, Mark, Luke, Matthew, Mark, Luke, Luke. And I never really read Luke before. Matthew, they kind of, in a sense, say the same things, just different wording. But I kind of got the liking the way Luke worded things, and some things just kind of came out a little more strong and a little more blunt to me than some of the other things. But that being said, the things I'm going to talk about, I say it with humbleness in front of Yahweh, in front of you, and hopefully everything comes out the way it ought to come out. Hopefully y'all receive it the way it ought to be received. Remember last time I was up here, it's been a long time ago, I said simple but not easy. All right, and I tell the boys that. There's a lot of things that are really simple, but easy is not really the same thing. All right, and I gave the example of being a skydiver. All right, simple concept. You put a kite on your back, you get in the plane, you go up there, open the door and jump out, pull a string. That's really simple. All right, really simple concept. But if you put a kite on your back and you think you're excited about it, and you get up in a plane and you go up there and they open that door and you can see the whole world down there, you will not find it very easy to jump your butt out of that plane.
That's true.
I guarantee you. It would take a little bit of crazy for that. And for some people, it just wouldn't be for me. All right. But very simple, but not easy at all to do. That means a lot of things bear repeating over and over and over and over and over. Lifetime, made up of decades. Decades are made up of years. Years are made up of months. Months are made up of weeks. Weeks are made up of days. Days are made up of hours. Hours are made up of minutes. Minutes are made up of seconds. And it just goes. Until time runs out. But the things that need to be repeated in that time, Yahweh laid out a pretty good example for us, starting with Moses and the prophets and going through his Messiah. And basically what I get out of that is become a tree and produce fruit. Very simple. To do that, I believe the first thing you got to be able to do that is you got to learn how to contend. You got to learn how to compete. All right. Contending, like again, going back to what I said last time, if y'all remember what the competing in the baseball sense is really no different than competing in anything else. It's knowing you can do it. No, competing is not going out there and giving 100%. I can go out there and give 100% and expect to fail. Well, how's that going to work? I've been up to the plate before and I go, I'm going to swing as hard as I can at this ball and try to crush it. But down on the inside, I'm doubting myself. I don't think I can do it. I'm sure we all have. Anybody that's played baseball, I'm sure has done that before. But competing is more than just giving 100%. It's going out there knowing without a doubt that you can do it, that you're able to do it. And in this sense, that Yahweh is able to do it. Yes, and if we have faith in ourselves, that's going to be a bad thing. We need to have faith in Him, and then that'll come out through us. But there's going to be, the faith is in Him. The competing is in Him. But faith, competing is knowing, and knowing is faith. Same thing. All right. If I have faith, then I know Yahweh is going to come through. In any situation that pops up, I know it, and I'm ready, and I'm not backing down. Right. Plain and simple. Right. Backing down shows you the doubt, hope, and fear that's inside you that maybe Yahweh won't come through, or maybe that the sins haven't been forgiven, or you're not worthy, or something like that popping up. Doubt, hope, or fear is the worst enemies of a competitor, and in our case, as a representation of the Messiah and Yahweh, there should be no doubt, hope, fear. The only thing we are instructed to fear is Yahweh Himself. We're not instructed to fear people. We're not instructed to fear attitudes. We're not instructed to fear anything but Yahweh, plain and simple. All right, and if something else, that takes a lot of practice, by the way. I think we're all working on that still. But but without that, then the trust that I need to have in Yahweh and Yeshua isn't there, plain and simple. All right, Yeshua said it over and over. Ye of little faith, where's your faith at? Golly, how long am I going to stand this faithless generation? Constantly, faith. Where's it at? You know, it's people, they're sitting on a ship and a storm's brewing and Yeshua's sleeping down there. That's how cool and calm He is, that He knows Yahweh's in control of this stuff. Right. And the people are freaking out, and Yeshua just wakes up and goes, "What are y'all freaking out about, dude? Stop, weather." Yeah. And they were amazed that it stopped. I mean, that's pretty solid faith. Like I said, the enemies of a competitor: doubt, hope, and fear. Why would you doubt Yahweh, hope it works, or be scared it won't work, when Yeshua said, if you want to turn to Luke, or most of these things, like I said before, are going to be in Luke. Why would you want to doubt Yahweh, hope it works, or be scared it won't work, when Yeshua said in Luke 16:17, if you want to turn there, I'll give you time. Pretty plain, and it's easier for heaven and earth to pass than one tittle of the law to fail. And if it's there, it's there. Right. I mean, it's just there. It's not going away. It's there. Yahweh put it there. It's not going to fail. Period. It's not going to fail. Hebrews 11:6. But without faith it is impossible to please Him. For he that cometh to Yahweh must believe that He is, and that He is a rewarder of them who diligently seek Him. Again, that's important. Yes, sir. Very, very important. Now, on those lines of faith, knowing that He will, knowing that He can, knowing that He's willing, no matter what, we can turn to Luke 8:48. Back to the Luke's here. Notice what Yeshua says to to this lady. This is the lady, if I'm correct here, this is the lady with the issue for 18 years. Notice what he says to her. And she touched his garment and she was healed immediately. And Yeshua said to her, "Daughter, be of good comfort. Your faith has made you whole. Go in peace." You catch that?
Yes, sir.
He didn't say my faith made you whole. All right? That lady came with faith. That lady knew it, touched it, and her faith made her whole. You with me? That could have been, Yeshua didn't have to say that.
Right.
You know, she was healed immediately, not after he said that. She was healed before he said that.
Right.
But he just told her why she got healed, plain and simple. Luke 17:19. Here's another example. Arise, go thy way. Your faith made you whole. Whose faith was it? That person's. It was not Yeshua's faith. Yeshua's faith was without question. Luke 18:41. A blind man comes up to him, and Yeshua says, "What shall I do for you?" He said, "Lord, that I may receive my sight." Yeshua said, "Receive your sight."
Yeah.
Your faith has saved you. That's pretty blunt. You know, it's not a.
It is.
Hey man, hey Luke, can I see? Yeah, see. Oh man, awesome. See, sweet, I can see now.
Yeah.
Your faith did that, not mine. Your faith did that. And that's pretty awesome how fast that can work and how simple it is.
Yes, sir.
How easy is it?
You're right.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, you're right.
Luke 8:50. People came to him and thought his daughter was dead, and Yeshua said to him, "Fear not, believe only, and she shall be made whole." Okay. So what was the thing that was hindering them? Fear. What's the enemy of a competitor? Fear. Believe only. Have faith only. And you will be made whole, or she will be made whole. So there's more examples in there, but that's a pretty good idea of just the simple how powerful faith is.
Right.
And that right there is something we, as an individual, as a team, we've got to work on our own, and then we've got to help each other.
Yes, sir.
With that. All right. If I think Barry Bonds is a pretty good example in the baseball world. You have a guy who's a really, he's one of the best hitters I've ever seen. Power hitters, average, everything he can do. But I don't think the man ever won a World Series. What good does it do if you're the only boss on your team,
Yeah.
and nobody around you can get the job done?
Yeah.
But what if that guy could have helped 7 others get the job done?
Right. Right.
Now you got 7 people You can win a World Series with 7 studs. You can't win a World Series with just one.
Right.
Right.
And that's what we have to do as a unit, is we've got to make sure, I'm dropping this thing. We've got to make sure that we, as an individual, get strong first, and then we got to help each other when there's a weakness somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Because we've all got our battles.
Right.
And we should not be ever feeling like you're alone. If you do, then ask. Just getting off subject, the Bible says if you ask not, or you have not because you ask not. If you need it, please ask. That's what we're here for. If we're not willing to help, then that says something about us. And please, God willing, we're all ready to help. Well, He is willing, no doubt. So the contending part, the competing part, we've got to make sure we polish that up daily.
Yes, sir.
It can't be something you just pop up every once in a while. You really gotta just get in there and think about it all the time. All the time. Once we get that part down, and once that part's getting strong, we need to make sure every single morning we wake up we have a purpose. Every day. Not just when you feel like it, not just when you're feeling good. Every single day there's things we can do, all right? And how much? I don't know. Maybe one day we can help somebody. Maybe some days we're willing to help and nobody needs help. Maybe some days we go out there and there's 50 people that need help. But every morning we wake up, we've got to be aware of our purpose. We are the salt, and we need to stay salty.
Yes.
Salty doesn't mean always have a smile on your face. Salty means be ready. If you walk around with a smile on your face all the time, then maybe you're not, I don't know. You can have a smile on your face. I'm not saying you can't. I'm sure the Bible doesn't condone smiling. Smile, but you also need to be on a mission too. Chuck Norris didn't smile a whole lot. Chuck Norris was always on a mission. Rocky didn't smile a whole lot. Rocky was on a mission. And not that they have anything to do whatsoever Bible, but that's kind of as a, us growing up in my generation, when you turn on TV, if you want to watch a man do a man's job, that's what you watch, Chuck Norris or Rambo or Rocky. But they're pretty salty in that realm of TV and winning battles. But our number one responsibility is us in making sure we have ourselves prepared for Yeshua's return. Compete every day with a purpose. Have a purpose every morning. Without a purpose, then you have no purpose. That's black and white. That makes me want a purpose. The number 2 responsibility is to help prepare others for Yeshua's return. All right. There's warnings about not helping others prepare, and how dangerous that is if we just prepare for ourselves and don't help others prepare. Turn to Luke 3:9 if you want to. And now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees. The axe is laid, it's there. Every tree therefore which bringeth not good fruit, bringeth forth not good fruit, is hewn down and cast into the fire. if that doesn't make you want to produce fruit, I don't know what will. And that's just one example. There's more examples in there, but that's one example. Turn to 19:12. Luke 19:12. A certain nobleman went into a far country to receive himself for a kingdom and to return. And he called his 10 servants and delivered them 10 pounds and said to them, "Occupy till I come." But his citizens hated him and sent a message after him, saying, "We will not have this man to reign over us." And it came to pass that when he was returned, having received the kingdom, then he commanded these servants to be called unto him, to whom he had given the money, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. Then came the first, saying, "Lord, thy pound hath gained 10 pounds. And he said unto him, Well, thou good and faithful servant, because thou hast been faithful in very little, have you authority over 10 cities. And the second came, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 5 pounds. And he said likewise to him, Be thou over 5 cities. And another came, saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound, which I have kept laid up in a napkin. For I feared thee, because thou art an austere man. Thou takest up that thou layest down, and reapest that thou didst not sow. And he said unto him, Out of thine own mouth will I judge thee, thou wicked servant. Thou knewest that I was an austere man, taken up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then gavest thou my money into the bank, that my coming I might have required mine own with usury. And he said unto them who stood by, Take from him the pound, and give it to him that has 10 pounds. And they say unto him, Lord, he hath 10 pounds. For I say unto you, that to every one which hath shall be given, and from him that hath not, even that he does have shall be taken away. So, when it comes to producing fruit, he's pretty serious about that. That's an example he gave, a parable he gave about that we need to pay very close attention to.
Yes, sir.
All right. It's gravely dangerous
Right.
to not do that.
Right.
When somebody needs something, it's our duty. It's not if you feel like it, you do it. So the purpose, become a tree.
Yes, sir.
Learn what you need to learn. The law, Yeshua, how he handled situations, the faith that's required to do that. And it's going to be hard to have that faith if you don't read all the time, if you don't listen to it all the time. You can know the word to every cool song on the radio because you listen to it so much, and then you hear the Bible and something's new to you, which kind of gives you an idea of how much you need to be listening to the Bible over than, some country song that means absolutely nothing.
Right.
In fact, it's usually the complete opposite in a bad way. But wake up every morning to sharpen yourself.
Right.
That is not being selfish. We are required to do that. All right. Once we get that under control, we need to fight to keep it under control, because there's going to be challenges.
Right.
The devil's not going to just let you be strong. He's going to come and try to tear you down, and because he's smart like that. He's not going to go after bad people. Bad people are on his side.
Right.
He's going after the good people. He's going after Yahweh's people. So we got to be on guard for that constantly. And then we need to, once we become a tree, produce fruit.
Yes, sir.
If you know everything you need to know, and somebody's there that doesn't, help them. How do you help them? I don't know. Understand the situation. Pray about it. Yeshua gives you examples on several different people he's dealing with, and how bold he is, and his feelings aren't always the way you think somebody's feelings ought to be. He's pretty bold with it.
Yes, sir.
And he just comes right out and says it. And if there's a problem, it's not his problem. It's, where's your faith at, dude?
Right.
You know. Once we do that, there's something else that really jumped out at me that I've had to correct it in myself some, and maybe we all have, but we all need to be aware of this, because it can be very dangerous, and that is self-righteousness. It's going to be hard to produce fruit if you think too highly of yourself.
Right. That's true. Right. That is very true.
People tend not to listen too much to people who think they're the stuff.
Right.
I have a hard time listening to people who think they're big time.
Yes,
you know.
Right.
One of the things I had to do as a baseball coach to get good at getting across to these kids is first realizing how bad I sucked at the game. You with me there? I mean, seriously, when you play the game, everybody thinks I don't even know why. They just think there's something special about you. And not being aware of it, sometimes I thought I was special. But if you're going to teach a kid, that kid doesn't know who you are, doesn't give a rip who you are. All that kid knows, there's an old ugly man right there who's about to tell me something. So the first thing you're going to have to do to get in that kid's brain is let them know you're no different than they are. You're going to fail. You're going to win some. You've looked stupid before. You've been embarrassed. You've swung and fallen on your butt in front of 3,000 people. You've made plenty of dumb mistakes, but then you've also made some good things. And if you want them to learn, you gotta really break your wall down and get on their level. And when we're talking to somebody who knows nothing, we got to talk to them like that. If we're big time around somebody who knows nothing, they're going to be standoffish. They're not going to want to listen to you. Yeshua even somebody called him good. He said, "Why'd you call me good? There's only one good, and not me." I mean, how much better? He's our example.
Right.
He was perfect.
Right.
Yes.
So if he doesn't even call himself good, who are we?
Yes.
I know I screwed up way more than he has. Way more. And he still had mercy. Thank goodness. So on the self-righteousness part, this is a good example here. Luke 18:10, if you want to turn there. This is the one that hit home with me. That put me in check in a matter of seconds. But it makes me never want to do this. But Luke 18:10. 2 men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and one the other a publican. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, "God, thank you, I am not like the other men are. Extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican. I fast twice a week. I give tithes to all that I possess, of all that I possess. And the publican, standing afar off, would not even lift up so much of his eyes toward heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me as a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone that exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. Now, I forgot to look that word up, abased. I don't know what that word means, but it doesn't sound very good. I don't think you really need a dictionary. You just need to know that's not going to end up good for that man. Sounds to me like the hewn down part, like the axe to the tree kind of thing, and that doesn't sound very good. And notice that the Pharisee was doing some things right. He wasn't just a total mess up. He was doing some things right. Just thought too highly of himself, and he thought he was better than other people. And he was a tree, but he had zero fruit.
Yeah.
And with his mindset, was never going to have any fruit.
Right.
And that leads, like we read before, that those trees get cut down.
Yes, sir.
And we need to make sure that we don't fall in that trap,
Yes, sir.
of thinking we're too special.
Very good point.
We are good. We've done some things right, but unless we're helping other people understand the same things on our daily lives, and that doesn't mean just everybody in the assembly. We all are competitors. Then every day we wake up, we go out, and I've got people I deal with. Bill's got people he deals with. Luke, Brian. I meet people somehow from your working place. They come up, hey, your brother-in-law. I was like, oh, you know Brian too? Okay, yeah. Well, you got people you deal with every day.
Yes, sir.
And those people on a daily basis can be helped at times.
Right.
There's opportunities you'll have to say, just plant a seed. You don't have to go in there and throw the whole Bible at them. Plant a seed, and be very humble with it. Hey, dude, I've made this mistake too. You want to know how I fixed it? Here's what I did. All right, and just see them eye to eye. They're just a child in the Bible language. They're a child, and they want to learn. There's a lot of people that I talk to that I say Yahweh and it doesn't freak them out.
Yeah.
They go, really? Here's the name. Oh, good. All right. And I put it on Twitter, and nobody presses the like button on that one necessarily. But I know good and well they think about it, because some people have come up and just kind of just hinted towards it, and without just coming out and say it. And I know where they got the thinking from, because I just planted that seed. And people are hungry for it. People want to know those things. There's people out there, and that's what Yeshua's. That's what Yeshua was going after. Is those people were hungry. Some of them listened, some of them didn't. He said the seed, some of it fell on good ground, thorny ground, and stony ground. But he did his part. The ground is what they make it.
Right.
It's your job to tell them. It's their job to listen. If they don't listen, that's their fault.
Right.
If I tell you and you don't listen, that's your fault.
Right.
But if I don't tell you, then you can't listen, and that's my fault.
Yes, sir. Amen.
And so we need to be very aware of not thinking too highly of ourselves, just because we know some things.
Right.
Mr. Martin preached about that a few weeks ago, about knowledge puffs up. We can't get puffed up just because we know some things. That doesn't make us special. Anybody can learn it.
Yeah,
Anybody.
right.
And just like I was telling somebody the other day, in 15 years of coaching baseball, I've never met one kid that I didn't think was capable of being great if he put his mind to it. And I've heard coaches forever, all the time, say, oh, that kid just doesn't have any talent. That kid will never be any good. I'm like, some of those kids are the ones that I have the most success with.
Right.
Because they're hungry for it. They don't know anything, and they're not any good yet. But they want to know.
Right. Yeah.
The ones that are good sometimes are only good because Daddy made them good. And then once Daddy steps back in high school, then they go off the deep end. The ones that are hungry, once they know it, they take it and they use it. And then they'll go out there and they'll work their butt off at it until they get good at it. That's how we need to be. That's how we need to be willing to share with people who are hungry. That's the meat of what I had, of what's been jumping out at me lately. I know it sounds fairly simple, and it is, but it bears repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating, and I'm not done listening to it yet by any stretch of it. But that part right there needs to be we need to get that inside of us, and what our role is. How can I go produce fruit? You have to produce fruit. It's our job. It's our duty. And go back to that parable real quick. One guy produced 10 out of his one dude produced 5. Or was it 5 and 3? 5 and 3, and the other guy didn't produce anything.
Right.
Even a little bit of production was still sufficient.
Right.
It didn't have to be everybody had 10 or you're no good.
Right.
A little bit would have sufficed. But that one dude that didn't have anything, it just flat out wasn't good enough. All right? And we just need to be focused on producing something. Start small, work big.
Amen.
Start small. Don't try to produce a whole nother tree. Just put a seed there and let's see what happens. Let's see if this guy can take it. So I just wrote right there, produce fruit, produce fruit, produce fruit.
There you go.
Another side note, Matthew 7:2, you don't have to turn there. It says, what measure you judge, you will also be judged. So that, again, ought to keep you in check for the self-righteous thing.
Right.
If I'm going to be super harsh on you, then Yahweh's going to give that to me too.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to try to take it easy on some folks, because I know if I get Yahweh to bring it down hard on me, woo, that's going to be a bad day. So I'm going to try to be delicate with that, because he's got plenty of reasons to smash me if he wants to. Here's some other things. Here's some little side notes that I'm looking into that I wasn't really. I just want just food for thought. I thought was very interesting. The kingdom of Yah. I was always wondering what that kingdom of heaven is at hand, and this and that and this and that. And in Luke 17:20, if you want to turn there, I was very. I was driving and my eyes just like popped wide open because I had no clue. But I thought it was one of the most awesome things I'd ever heard. Remember, this is food for thought. This is off base right here from what we were just talking about. Kinda. 17:20. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of God should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of God cometh with no observation. Neither shall they say, lo here, or lo there, for behold, kingdom of God is within you. Where's the kingdom at?
In you.
In you. In you, and 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 you. How awesome is that?
Amen.
Right.
That's thinking awesome. If you don't think that's awesome, I think that's awesome. How many places could it be other than inside you, though? Seriously. So the faith part of it, if it's in there,
Yes, sir.
all we got to do is just believe in that. That's awesome. I think it's awesome. Another little side note, and I'm going to give you one example. Luke, how Yeshua shut up the devil. Luke 4:18.
Yes, sir.
You know, if the devil's going to go after Yeshua, he's going to come after us too. And we got to know how to shut him up. And he shows you how to shut him up. Really, really simple. Every time he comes at you, is that right? 4:18. Nope, that's not the right one.
8. 8. 4:8. Is that what you're looking for?
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, there it is. 4:8, not 4:18. I'm sorry. Thanks, Bill.
Yes, sir.
So the devil's trying to tempt him. And Yeshua answered and said unto him, Get behind me, Satan, for it's written. All right? If he comes at you,
It is written.
get behind me. Get behind me. Get behind me, Satan. Tell him. He's worthless. He is really worthless. He's a slime ball. He's garbage.
Yes, sir.
Tell him where he needs to be.
Yes, sir.
And don't be scared of him coming back either. If he comes back, tell him again.
Right.
Read on, you'll find more examples of that. And a even stronger example, I think it gave me goosebumps. Peter comes up to him and tries to, one of his buddies,
Yeah.
one of his disciples, one of his better, stronger, tougher disciples, one of his close friends comes up to him and tries to talk him out of what he's going to do, giving his life up. And his buddy comes up, do you really have to follow through with this? Get behind me, Satan.
Yeah.
Looked at his buddy right in the eye.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty hardcore. Talk about feelings. Oh, easy now, easy. Don't hurt his feelings. I bet Luke was like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
Say, whoa, all right.
Yeah.
Got you there, buddy. I got you.
Yeah.
And I bet he didn't say that with a smile on his face either.
No, sir.
I bet Yeshua said that with some serious Wyatt Earp eyes, looking dead in his eyeballs.
Yes, sir.
And just gives you an example how it's all they had to say. Get behind me, Satan. So there's some things to think about. Every time the devil comes at you, shut him up.
Amen.
Tell him to get behind you. He doesn't have power over you. The kingdom of Yah is inside you.
Amen.
It's inside you. Not outside of you. It's inside of you. Now, here's some homework, if you want to. I've thought about this a little bit, and it's not really silly, but maybe it is a little. I don't know. I heard several times growing up. I remember hearing it in church from different people, and they would say God has a sense of humor. I'm honestly yet to see that in him. I've listened to the Old Testament, or Moses and the prophets, the law. Never read anything about Yahweh joking around. After reading, listening to Matthew, Mark, and Luke, a little bit of John, but going back to Matthew, Mark, and Luke a couple times, 3-4 times, I never once heard Yeshua crack a joke. Serious. They don't walk around joking around all the time. So here's my challenge. Study that up for yourself and see how many times Yahweh or Yeshua cracks a joke. give you an idea of their personality. Yeshua was not a comic. He wasn't a comedian. He was serious. Why do you think the Pharisees had a hard time dealing with the guy?
Yeah.
He was serious, and they knew he was serious. He preached it with authority, and those people didn't, and that's what they despised about Yeshua, was the fact that he knew it on the inside of him, and they weren't so sure. They just get up there and sound smart because they like people to think they sound smart. Yeshua didn't care what you thought about him. He's just going to tell you. When you're planting seed and you're going to share with somebody, here's some more fuel for your confidence. Yeshua said in Luke 10:16, "He that heareth you heareth me. He that despiseth you despiseth me. And he that despiseth me also despiseth him who sent me." So if they don't like what you have to say, we've already talked about being careful on how you present it and breaking it down to them very humbly. But when we do that, if they don't like what you say, they don't like who you represent, and they don't like who you represent and the one who represents him, or who he represented. Problem's not with you, in other words. Right. That problem becomes between him and Yahweh, and the Bible says plenty of things about people who aren't willing to listen.
Yeah.
But those that ought to give you some confidence when you feel like you need to talk to somebody. Don't hesitate, because the things that you have to tell them are the things that Yeshua is telling you, and the things that Yeshua is telling you are the things that Yahweh told him to tell you.
Right.
So there's no reason to back off. I don't care if it is 1 versus 100. There's no reason to back off from that. That's what are they going to do? You got Yahweh on your side. You got Yeshua on your side. And even if it came down to life and death, they can't kill the soul. They can kill the body, not the soul. And it says, fear him that can destroy both body and soul, not the one who can just take the body. And your reward will be in heaven for sure. So, it's about all I got. I hope that's some things to think about.
Yes,
and I know it's been for me, and it's going to continue to be. But those are the things right there that really motivated me. The last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been really motivated to be more bold, bring it up more. Just little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Hey, do this. This is what the Bible says. You read your Bible, don't you?
Yeah.
And they go, well, here's what it says anyway.
Yeah.
You with me there? And it just, there it is, buddy. Take it or leave it. There it is. And I'm just going to keep giving it to you until you see it work. Because it'll work for you. Just trust me. It'll work.
Amen. Trust
me. I trust him. And he trusts Yahweh. And that's how it's supposed to work.
That's it.
All right. But thank you for your ears. And
thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Martin. And again, very humbly and thankful for the opportunity that Yahweh has given me, and the second, third, fourth, 50th, 60th chances he's given me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Stand by. Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Say this with me. I know
I know
that without faith, it's impossible
it's impossible
for me to please Yahweh.
for me to please Yahweh.
I have to believe
that
He is a rewarder
He is a rewarder
of those that diligently seek Him.
of those who diligently seek Him.
Therefore, it's important
Therefore, it's
Therefore, it's
that I
important
seek Him
that I seek Him
to know how to prepare for His purpose
for His purposes
in my life.
in my life.
That means
That means
I need to be bold,
I need to be bold
live without fear.
and live without fear.
That's true.
Amen.
Yahweh bless you and keep you.
Yes, sir.
Yahweh make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yes, sir.
Yahweh lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace.
Yes, sir.
As His name is put upon you, so shall He bless you. Bow your heads, if you will, and close your eyes.